to go. Hi, Margaret. Good to see you again here at the National Space Choice. Now, two authors written the beautiful series. Was there any specific character, that you wish that you could have added or enhanced the story? Did you ever regret any of the characters that was not really fully, evolved or mentioned? And if not, why? And if yes, could you discuss more about it, and would you have insist?
Well, I think when you write Southern Gothic, those kinds of stories have a lot of characters in them. What you want to do is tell all their stories, and you never get the opportunity to do that. So there are certainly more stories I wish I could have told. We have one book left in the series, so we have a few more stories to tell, but this series is just 4 books. We got the chance to do a side story with the character Link, who's the best friend of the protagonist, Ethan Wade. That was fun. That was available only online, but sometimes that's the fun of a big series, when you can explore those other related projects. The other fun thing about an ongoing series is your characters get to grow up with you, and so the characters deepen and evolve as you move with every book. One of the things that's been important to Cami and to me is the idea of consequences. So the decisions the characters make in one book come back to haunt them, or they must experience the results in the next book. So our characters have had to go through a lot, and they have grown a lot with every book. So I think it's been interesting for us as writers to sort of watch these characters who seem very real to us, to sort of watch them evolve. And they've all changed quite a bit and grown up.
So speaking about characters, are these characters actually written in a way such that reflects based on your personal experience every day?
Yeah, some of them are and some of them aren't. So I'm from a very small town. My family is from a small town. It's really my mother's town in the West. Cami's family, it's really her mother's town, is from a small town in the South. So we've sort of melded our two small towns together. So a lot of the small character stories in Gatlin are true, and they're from our families, and they're sort of the stories that our family passed on to each other. So my grandfather was the postmaster in the small town, and he knew everybody's secrets. That was true. That was my grandfather. There will be the great aunts called the sisters. They were Cami's great aunts, they weren't named Prudence, Grace, and Mercy. They were named Opal, Pearl, and Ruby. But all of those sort of the side characters, all the food that the characters eat, the horrible or the wonderful food, depending on your opinion, the casseroles and the cakes and the pies, that's from our family. So that's been really fun. My extended family teases me, because I put stories that are, from my father in the book, or Cami's put things about her mother, and that's been interesting as well. All the characters we really care about seem to always love to read. I think that's one of the things we unconsciously do, is that people like to read. If we like someone, they like to read. Ethan, the sort of protagonist, is not modeled on anyone either one of us knew. He was sort of the boy we wish we knew when we were growing up. I think Lena, in some ways, has things in common with both of us, because she likes to write, and we're writers. She likes to read. Ethan likes to read. That's how we relate to him. I relate to Ethan Wake because I think a great many more things than I will say, and he's sort of like that, where he sort of says very little and thinks very much, and I sort of have a separation between what I will say and what I will think. I identify with the characters who like to talk about books, which is like Uncle Nathan or Marion, his mother. That's sort of the English professor to me. Cami is very superstitious, so she puts a lot of that into Alma, and you see some of that come up. My daughters are very strong-willed, and they were the ones who originally challenged us, dared us to write the book, my oldest daughter. My daughters are fencers. I was in France last week while my daughter was representing the United States at a tournament, and And I think that idea that teenage girls can be strong and powerful and smart, I think that's there in our book. We definitely wanted to give superpowers to our girls. We feel that a lot of times girls only get to fall in love. They don't get to be powerful as well. So that's something we set up to do. So I guess you could say there's a lot of us in our stories, in our characters, everywhere.
The first two books that were written in the beautiful series would seem to be very optimistic, and it was really exciting. But finally, when the third book came out, it was decided to turn the relationship that come to an end. And some characters have taken some surprising turns, such as death. But some say that would that be a new beginning in the near future for them? Were there some ideas of a rebirth of a new generation, perhaps a reincarnation for some would like to believe that love never dies with theology? Is that something that you have thought of?
I think that, well, of course, we never can talk about our new books before they come out, but definitely there is a fourth book. I'm always very quick to reply to readers because I will get a lot of comments on Twitter and on Facebook and emails of people saying, "Oh my gosh, is that the end of the series?" And they're panicking, and I say, "No, there's one more book." So that's really all I can say about that. But I will say that the idea of how enduring is love is definitely a theme in our books, and also I think Ethan really has been dealing with mortality. He had the shadow of losing his mother, and Lena dealt with some of that as well. And I feel that kind of some of those big questions about what's important in life and what is it to be a human and to be alive for a while, those are all kind of philosophical questions that it's not just adults that think about those things. Teenagers are some of the most, provocative and sensitive and intelligent people I know. So it is true we talk about all those things. That's my roundabout